Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 2. This is the time in this season where you'd be like, was the first episode a fluke? Would they be able to pick up the momentum and keep it running? Everyone's going to think it, because that first episode was really good. Spectacular even. Game-changing, to say the least. It really made me think we could do really good science fiction on television again. Episode 2 kept up the momentum, and I think exceeded my expectations. It literally went to places I didn't think they would go in this show. I didn't think in 2022 they would try to do some of the things they did this episode, because it is not a lot of action. It really had me thinking they know what they're doing with this season, and that's incredible. So first off, this episode is pretty much the introduction to Uhura in the larger universe of the Enterprise. She gets to her first captain's dinner, and it's basically just how does she fit in with these people. She's wearing her dress uniform, she's getting pranked a little bit, they're hazing the new girl, and she starts to sing a song from her time in Kenya, and basically we get a little bit of an origin story to how she chose to join Enterprise. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun. How she joined Starfleet. It's a really cool introduction that I'm fun to see. Basically, we learned that her family was killed in an accident. She went to live with her grandmother. Her grandmother worked for Starfleet, and she said, well, I should go there. I do want to learn linguistics, so maybe this is a great way to do that. And we learned she speaks 37 languages, which is pretty impressive for anybody. 22 of them are from Africa. I think she said that is different dialects for the region she was a part of, which is a really cool thing to see. That dinner sequence is really fun, by the way. I just enjoyed seeing that. It had a lot of just clever ideas to it. The way Spock is using the precognitive visions of this one race where he's tossing stuff at him. The way Pike is just looking amazing in just that Under Armour jacket. It's great. It's great, and I really do enjoy what we see there. And again, this is a woman we're seeing at the beginning of her career. It's not the Nichelle Nichols version. It's just she's starting out, so she doesn't know where she wants to be yet. And basically, she doesn't want to be at Starfleet. She's like, this is just something I don't know. I came here because it was a way to escape. I don't know if this is where I want to stay. That kind of puts her at odds against some of the people. In particular, Spock is like, you should really decide if this is where you want to be. People go their whole lives trying to get into this position you're in. Maybe you should take this a little more seriously if you're interested in doing that. And while that is happening, the basic, crux or the mission of this episode is kind of seeing there's this comet that is headed for this planet of unevolved people. They are basically just living in a certain era where the technology hasn't exceeded their ability to know that a comet is headed for them. The idea is maybe we could find a way to avert the comet from hitting these people, and then we could stop all that from happening. Well, to do that, maybe we'll have to go to the surface of the comet because it just deflected our laser blast. So, let's figure out how we do that. We have our first away mission for Uhura. She's there with Spock, Noonien Singh, and we got a Kirk in here. Sam Kirk spotting a very old school mustache, which I do dig. You see Pike's like, oh, don't hate that mustache, man. He's like, oh, you should try one. Maybe we'll see Anson mounting a mustache. I hope that is foreshadowing to something we'll see him do, which is very cool. They go onto this comet, and you basically see there's a big egg with hieroglyphics on it. How do we solve that? Well, we got a linguistics lady here. Maybe she can solve it for us. And as they are doing that away mission, we see on the Enterprise, they are hailed by these people called the Shepherds, who are guiding this ancient relic. I think they call it something like Mahonate, something like that. And basically, it's this holy relic that could change the course of whatever it comes in contact with, whoever it comes near. And Enterprise interfering with it is probably going to destroy it. Probably going to mess up this comet and this sacred artifact, but Pike's like, dude, it's going to kill a lot of people if it collides with this planet. We should really stop that from happening. And we see the Shepherds are like, nah, dude, it's got to collide. That's the course it's going to take. And I love it. When we get to what happens kind of at the end of the episode, I love the way it plays out. It is so classic-y, Star Trek-y. I just adore it so much. So this is about Uhura's journey, and she comes down to, she's on this comet, she's trying to figure everything out, and we get some really just nice small moments of her and Spock, again, building up that connection we know they're going to have later on. I really like that because it's like we know what's happening here. We know she stays. There's tension that she might leave. We know she's going to stay because my theory still stands that they're going to give this show a couple of seasons. And if the cast is still up for it, they're going to launch right into a reboot of the original series. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll actually see if that's the case or not. But, it's a big but, this show is really subverting my expectations. I didn't think it would go to this level so soon. So basically, this Mahonet, is kind of alive in a sense, and it responds to the hums and the chirps and the sounds coming from Uhura when she is thinking and she is singing to herself. It's responding to song, and of course Spock's like, well, songs are just mathematics, you know? Numbers and lyrics and all that is just mathematics, like musical notes are just a form of math, so it's communicating on a mathematical level. And basically, we have to match the frequencies in order to help this thing understand what we are trying to do. You get a great moment where Uhura and Spock have to match tones, and there's something just so subtle about it because, of course, Uhura is a character who is known for her voice. You know, you had Nichelle in the original series sing in a couple episodes. Was it weird? Sometimes. But a good way to use that as a characteristic for this younger actor to take on the role. I do like that. So she's perfect pitch. You got Spock keeping tone, but it just sounds like a man who doesn't know how to change his voice to sound musically inclined. I love the way they match the pitch there. It is such a cool thing to see. It works. They open up this egg and suddenly they're able to communicate with it via song. Does that not sound classic Star Trek? Because it is. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this thing to happen in the show, where it's like, how weird are we gonna get? How insane? How Grant Morrison-y are we gonna get? I love it. I love it, and it worked fine. They're able to take down the force fields on this thing, and because of that, they're able to get back onto the Enterprise. I just think that's really fun. But of course, our shepherds are like, bruh, you're doing something you shouldn't. Why are you doing that? Okay, we're gonna have to fire on you now. They take some evasive actions. Ortega uses a maneuver that she made up to get in front of the comet, and basically their idea is maybe we're going to block ourselves away so we can work out a way to get the comet away from this. And Spock has this idea, like maybe we could like freeze and portion off a chunk of it that will push itself away from the planet. So he's off on his own shuttle trying to do that, maneuver through it to use the heat in a certain way to push the planet and the comet out of each other's collision. Essentially it works. And they push it away. Which I'm like, okay, of course it is. We're not going to have millions of lives lost in a show like this for Star Trek. Why would we? But what we don't realize at the beginning is, hey, maybe this was the plan of the comet the whole time. Maybe Mahonet was like, I can do this. And look what happens. It's all pre-said, you know, preordained. We know what's going on here. I needed Spock to do that to get there, so you feel like you were helping me. Precognitive ideas. The comet was doing it itself. That's a fun area to explore. And it was trying to communicate that through song. It was trying to sing itself, hey, I mean no harm to this planet. I'm here to do the things that the shepherd said I would do. I'm bringing prosperity to this planet. Look, it's raining. Their agriculture is going to grow. This planet's going to thrive and become special because of what I did. The shepherds are right. Enterprise didn't do anything wrong. Everything worked out in the end. And that is what classic Star Trek should be. Have your dramatic moments where a character's deciding, what is my fate? Is our fate preordained? Can we decide it? Am I going to stay at Starfleet? How do we figure out a case like this when I'm too new as a recruit to do this? Can we maneuver ourselves through a ship that is bigger than us? That is all intrinsically Star Trek too. But I love the ideas like this planet is going to prosper. This comet is going to go out into the world and help more people. These shepherds are going to watch the salvation come to these different planets from this thing that has been guiding it. That is really cool. That is just a really cool idea that I wasn't expecting to see in this, because that is just classic. That is vintage Star Trek. That is just episodes I love to see. And it's working so well so far. And I love everything about that. Uhura looks like she's going to be staying on the ship for a little bit, which is cool to see. She does kind of reference earlier on like the little bit of the flirtation ship between Spock and Chapel. I do like that. Again, what they're doing with Chapel here, I'm a fan of. She's not really in this episode that much, but I like what we're seeing there. I also like kind of like towards the end, we get number one and Pike talking about like your history or your future. It's not determined yet. You could change at any moment. Maybe you're only seeing a part of it you want to see. Maybe what you do in that moment is going to help a lot of people. Is going to be the right choice. Your future is not planned out. Things can change. So, what does Pike do? He looks at the database of these kids that he's eventually going to save in this moment. He's like, okay, can I accept my fate, or is things going to change the way for me? I think it's just like a small, great bit of tension to run throughout this show. What is Pike going to do knowing when he's going to die? Knowing when he's going to lose everything? It's small and it's noticeable at moments where he's like talking to her, where do you see yourself in 10 years, knowing in 10 years he's going to be dead? I think that's fascinating. And it's so Star Trek-y, where it's like you have your history written pretty much. So what are you going to do with that moment? What are you going to do to live up to those expectations you are setting for yourself? There's something very cool about that. And I just like the way that was handled in here. And it was a very solid episode. I liked everything about this. I like the use of music. I like the set direction. It looks amazing. It looks better than some movies do. It like the lenses and the lighting they are using in this show is spectacular. I love everything this show did. It was perfect, right down to the aesthetic. Everything worked for me in Strange New Worlds. It's continuing to work for me in Strange New Worlds. And this episode, believe it or not, was an improvement from last week. So that's going to do it for this review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.